The white ceiling came into focus slowly. Kang Day blinked several times, trying to understand where he was. His head felt heavy, like someone had filled it with sand. The air smelled strange, sweet but metallic. Nothing about this place felt familiar. He tried to sit up, but his body didn't want to cooperate. His muscles felt weak, as if he hadn't used them in a very long time. Machines beeped around him, creating a rhythm he didn't recognize. The room looked like a medical bay, but the equipment was wrong. Everything was too smooth, too advanced, shaped in ways that made no sense. A door slid open with a soft whisper. Day turned his head toward the sound. A woman walked in. She was beautiful, but not human. Her skin glowed with a soft blue light that seemed to come from within. Her eyes were larger than human eyes, colored like violet crystals. She wore flowing clothes that changed color as she moved. When she saw him awake, her face transformed with joy. Tears started falling from those strange, beautiful eyes. "Day," she cried out. She rushed to his bedside and grabbed his hand. Her skin was warm, warmer than human skin. "Thank the stars you're awake." "You're finally awake." Day stared at her. He had never seen this woman before in his life. Who are you?" he managed to say. His voice sounded rough, unused. The woman's face fell. The light in her skin dimmed slightly. "Day, it's me. It's Lyra, your wife. Day's mind raced. He wasn't married. He was a captain in the Deep Space Research Program. He was single. He had been on a mission. When? Yesterday? Last week? He couldn't remember. Before he could respond, a small figure burst through the door. A child. A young boy who looked about 6 years old. He was like the woman, with that same glowing skin, but his glow was softer, more golden. He had her violet eyes, but there was something else in his face. Something that looked almost human. "Papa," the boy screamed. He ran to the bed and tried to climb up. "Papa, you're awake!" "Mama said you would wake up, and you did." The boy threw his small arms around Day's neck. Day sat frozen, completely confused. "Papa?" This alien child was calling him Papa? Lyra gently pulled the boy back. "Careful, Kian, your father is still recovering." She looked at Day with eyes full of concern. "Day, what do you remember?" "I remember." Day's head hurt when he tried to think. "I remember my mission. The Deep Space Research Vessel. We were studying the outer sectors. I was captain." That would, he stopped. How long ago was that? Why couldn't he remember? "That was 3 years ago," Lyra said softly. She sat on the edge of his bed, still holding his hand. "Day, you've been with us for 3 years. We met during the first contact negotiations. You represented Earth. I represented the Villani people. We fell in love. We got married 2 years ago. Kian is our son. 3 years? Impossible." Day looked at the boy, at Kian, who was staring at him with huge, hopeful eyes. "Our son? I don't remember any of this," Day said. Fear crept into his voice. "I don't remember you. I don't remember him. I don't remember getting married or any of it." Lyra's tears started again. Kian's lower lip trembled. The boy looked like he might cry too. The door opened again. Another alien entered, this one very different. He had 4 arms and green-scaled skin. His head was large, with multiple eyes that blinked independently. He wore what looked like a doctor's coat. "Ah, Captain Kang is awake," the alien said. His voice was deep and calm. "I am Vrex, the chief medical officer. How are you feeling?" "Confused," Day said honestly. "They say I've been here for 3 years, but I don't remember anything." Vrex moved to check the machines around the bed. His multiple hands worked quickly, touching screens and reading data. "Yes, we expected this. You suffered severe neural trauma during the incident 6 months ago. You've been in recovery since then." "What incident?" "There was an attack during a diplomatic meeting," Vrex explained. "An enemy weapon hit the station. You protected Lyra and Kian, but you were badly injured. Your brain took the worst damage." Vrex turned to look at him with his many eyes. "Captain Kang, most species would have died from such an injury. But human brains are remarkable. Your neuroplasticity, your brain's ability to heal and reorganize itself is beyond anything we've seen. You survived, but the cost was your recent memories." Day processed this slowly. "Will I get them back? My memories? Perhaps. Perhaps not. The human brain is still mysterious to us. You might recover everything, some things, or nothing at all. We simply don't know." Kian couldn't stay quiet any longer. "Papa, don't you remember our games? Don't you remember the stories you told me?" The song about the stars? The boy's voice was breaking. He looked so sad, so confused. A child who didn't understand why his father suddenly didn't know him. Dave felt something twist in his chest. Even if he didn't remember, he could see the pain he was causing. This boy, alien or not, loved him. Truly loved him. I'm sorry, Dave said quietly. I'm so sorry. I can't remember. Lyra wiped her eyes. She was trying to be strong. It's okay. We'll help you. We have photos, videos, recordings. We'll help you learn about your life again. Even if you never remember, we'll help you. She touched his face gently. I love you, Day. That hasn't changed. Even if you don't remember loving me, I still love you. Day didn't know what to say. This woman, this beautiful alien woman, was looking at him with such deep affection. And the boy, Kian, was still staring at him with those big, hopeful eyes. Can I see the photos? Day asked. Lyra's face brightened a little. Of course. Yes, of course. She pulled out a small device and activated it. A holographic screen appeared in the air. Images started flowing past. Images of him, of Day, but different. Happier. Smiling. There he was, standing next to Lyra in formal clothes, exchanging vows in front of a crowd of humans and aliens. There he was, holding a newborn Kian, looking down at the baby with wonder on his face. There he was, laughing at a dinner table, surrounded by friends, playing with Kian in a park, kissing Lyra under strange alien stars. A whole life. A life he didn't remember living. Day stared at the images. That was him. That was definitely him. But he felt like he was looking at a stranger. That's my papa, Kian said proudly, pointing at one image where Day was holding him on his shoulders. You always carried me like that. Day looked at the boy, at Kian, at this small person who called him papa. I'm sorry I don't remember, Day said again. He didn't know what else to say. Kian climbed onto the bed carefully. He snuggled against Day's side. It's okay, Papa. Mama says you're still my papa even if you don't remember. She says love doesn't need memory. Out of the mouths of children, Day thought. Even alien children. He put his arm around the boy carefully. Kian felt real. Warm and real and alive. Maybe his mind didn't remember, but something deep inside him wondered if his heart knew something different. Tell me about myself, Day said to Lyra. Tell me who I was, who we were. Lyra smiled through her tears. I'll tell you everything. As she began to speak, telling him stories of a life he couldn't recall, Day listened carefully. He watched Kian's face light up as Lyra described their family adventures. He looked at the woman who called herself his wife. Something felt wrong, but he couldn't put his finger on it. Something in the back of his mind whispered that things weren't quite right. But for now, he was too weak, too confused to question it. For now, he would listen and try to understand the life he had apparently forgotten. Days passed slowly on the ship. Day learned he was aboard the stellar coalition vessel called the Harmony. It was massive, a floating city in space with thousands of crew members from dozens of different species. Humans were rare here. He was one of only 5 humans on the entire ship. Lyra gave him space, but she was always nearby. She would visit his medical room with meals, with stories, with gentle smiles. She never pushed him, never demanded that he love her back. She just existed in his life, patient and kind. Kian was less patient. The boy visited every day, bringing drawings he had made, toys he wanted to share, questions about Earth that he remembered his papa answering before. Day tried his best to answer, drawing on his real memories of home. When he got something right, something that matched what past Day had said, Kian would light up with joy. See, Mama, Papa is remembering, Kian would say, but Day wasn't remembering. He was just being himself. That scared him a little. How much of past Day was just regular Day? The ship's counselor, a floating jellyfish-like creature named Asa, visited him regularly. Memory or not, you are still you, Asa would say in her musical voice. The core of who you are doesn't change. After a week, Vrex cleared him to leave the medical bay. Lyra showed him to their quarters. Their home. The door slid open and Day stepped inside. The space was large and comfortable. It was decorated with items from dozens of worlds. But what caught his eye were the human touches. Earth paintings on the walls. A bookshelf with actual paper books, some in Korean, some in English. Photos everywhere. Photos of him, Lyra, and Kian. I tried to make it feel like home for you, Lyra said softly. You were often homesick for Earth. Kian ran ahead into his room. Papa, come see. I kept all your gifts. Day followed slowly. Kian's room was filled with toys and books. On one shelf sat a collection of small spaceships hand-carved from wood. They were beautiful, detailed work. You made these for me, Kian said proudly. Every birthday and special day. See, this one is Earth's moon lander. This one is the first Mars ship. You taught me all about human space history. Day picked up one of the ships. The craftsmanship was excellent. He knew how to carve wood. His grandfather had taught him when he was young. Had he really made these? They're beautiful, Day said. You said making them helped you think, Kian explained. You said working with your hands made your mind quiet. That sounded right. That sounded like something he would say. Over the next few weeks, Day explored the ship. He had access to everywhere. People knew him. They greeted him warmly, asked about his recovery, told him stories about things they had done together. He was apparently well-liked. He found the ship's records room and requested his personal files. The computer recognized him immediately, gave him full access to his own records. He spent hours reading his mission reports. They were detailed, professional, written in his own style. He read about the first contact mission, about meeting Lyra during tense negotiations between Earth and the Vallani, about how the two species had been on the edge of war over a misunderstanding. According to the reports, he and Lyra had worked together to bridge the communication gap. They had spent long hours learning each other's languages, cultures, ways of thinking. The reports were dry and official, but between the lines he could see how they might have grown close. Then he found the personal logs. Videos of himself. He played one. His own face appeared on the screen, but this version of him looked happier than he remembered being. Personal log, day 847, the video Day said. Lyra and I got married today. I never thought I'd fall in love, especially not with someone from another world. But she's incredible. She sees things differently than humans do, and that perspective makes me better, makes me understand more. I feel lucky. Really, truly lucky. Day paused the video. That was him. That was his voice, his face, his mannerisms. But he didn't remember feeling that way. Didn't remember that happiness. He played more videos. Hundreds of them. Video Day talking about his life, his love for Lyra, his joy when Kian was born. The boy wasn't fully biological, the logs explained. He was grown from combined genetic material, a breakthrough in Vallani human compatibility. Kian was truly their son. Every video showed a man in love, a man who was happy, but Day didn't feel that way. He felt confused and lost. One evening, while Lyra was putting Kian to bed, Day explored their bedroom. He found a locked drawer in the desk. Something made him want to open it. He used his access code, the one Lyra had given him. Inside was a small data chip. It looked old, worn. On it, scratched in what looked like his own handwriting, were words. Remember Earth. Trust no one. Day's heart started beating faster. He looked around, suddenly paranoid. Why would he leave himself this message? What did it mean? He pocketed the chip quickly, just as Lyra came back into the room. Kian wants you to say goodnight, she said, smiling softly. Day forced himself to smile back. Of course, he went to Kian's room. The boy was already in bed, cuddling a stuffed earth animal, a tiger. Papa, will you tell me a story? Kian asked. The one about the brave explorer? I don't remember that story, Day said apologetically. That's okay. Make a new one. You always made the best stories. So Day sat on the edge of the bed and made up a story. He told Kian about a young explorer who traveled to distant worlds, who met strange and wonderful people, who learned that bravery wasn't about not being scared, but about being scared and doing the right thing anyway. Kian's eyes grew heavy as he listened. I love you, Papa, the boy mumbled as sleep took him. Day felt that twist in his chest again. I love you too, Kian. Did he mean it? He wasn't sure, but saying it felt right. He returned to the living area. Lyra was sitting on the couch reading something on a tablet. Lyra, Day said carefully, can I ask you something? Anything. What exactly happened during the attack? The one that hurt me. Lyra's face grew sad. We were at a diplomatic station. There was a meeting with the Fringe Alliance. Suddenly ships appeared. They were from a hostile group that didn't want peace between our species. They fired on the station. You pushed Kian and me into an escape pod, but you were hit by debris. Your head, She stopped, touching her eyes. I thought I'd lost you. You were so badly hurt. But the doctor saved you. You're stronger than you know, Day. Humans are stronger than any of us realized. What do you mean? The injury should have killed you. Would have killed anyone from my species. But your brain, your human brain, it found ways to heal. Dr. Vrek said he'd never seen anything like it. He said human neural plasticity is remarkable. You're a survivor. Day nodded slowly. Something about her story felt smooth. Too smooth. Like it had been practiced, or maybe he was being paranoid. Maybe the head injury was making him suspicious of everything. That night, alone in the bathroom, Day examined the data chip. It was encrypted, but the encryption was old Earth military code. Code he knew. He used his personal tablet to decrypt it. A single file appeared, a video. He pressed play, keeping the volume low. His own face appeared, but this Day looked different. Scared. Desperate. If you're watching this, then they succeeded, Video Day whispered. They took your memories. I don't have much time. Listen carefully. Nothing is what it seems. Lyra is not your wife. Kian is not your son. This is all. The video cut off abruptly. Day stared at the blank screen, his heart pounding. What did that mean? Was past him paranoid? Sick? Or was he telling the truth? Day looked at himself in the mirror. Who was he? What was real? Outside the bathroom, he could hear Lyra moving around, getting ready for bed. Down the hall, Kian was sleeping peacefully. They felt real. Their love felt real. But that message? Day made a decision. He would investigate. Quietly, carefully. He would find out the truth. But he would also keep living this life, keep playing this role. Because if this was all fake, he needed to know why. And if it was real, if he was just being paranoid, then he owed it to Lyra and Kian to try. He deleted the video from his tablet and hid the chip in his pocket. Tomorrow, he would start looking for answers. Tonight, he would sleep next to a woman who might be his wife, in a home that might be his, living a life that might be a lie. The truth was out there somewhere, and Day was good at finding truth. That was who he was, memory or no memory, he was a survivor. He was human, and humans didn't give up. Day started his investigation carefully. He couldn't let anyone know what he was doing. If there really was a conspiracy, if his memories really had been stolen, then whoever did it was watching him. He began with small things. He requested to tour the ship, claiming he wanted to relearn his home. Lyra was happy to show him around. As they walked through the corridors, Day paid attention to security systems, to access points, to where information might be stored. He noticed something interesting. His security clearance was very high, higher than it should be for a simple cultural liaison. He could access areas that even senior officers couldn't enter. Why do I have such high clearance? He asked Lyra one day. She smiled. You're a hero, Day. You saved both our worlds. The Coalition trusts you completely. That answer felt too simple. A week into his investigation, something unexpected happened. The ship encountered a spatial anomaly, a tear in space that appeared without warning. Alarms blared throughout the vessel. Day was in the observation deck with Kian when it happened. The boy grabbed his hand, scared. It's okay, Day said automatically. We'll be fine. But the ship shuddered violently. Through the viewport, Day could see the anomaly growing, pulling at them with invisible force. All personnel to emergency stations, a voice announced over the speakers. Day picked up Kian and ran. His body moved on instinct, taking routes through the ship he didn't consciously remember. He got Kian to Lyra in their quarters, then something made him run toward the bridge. The bridge was chaos. Officers shouting, screens flashing warnings. The captain, a tall being with silver skin, was giving orders rapidly. Captain Kang, the captain said when he saw Day. We need your help. The navigation systems are failing. The anomaly is disrupting all our computers. I'm not a navigator, Day said, but you understand spatial mathematics better than anyone. Please try. Day moved to a console without thinking. His hands flew over the controls. Numbers and equations appeared on screens. Part of his mind wondered how he knew what to do. But another part, a deeper part, just knew. He could see the pattern in the anomaly. It wasn't random. It was structured, mathematical. If they adjusted their course by exactly 17 degrees and fired their engines in a specific pulse pattern, they could break free. Here, Day said, transferring his calculations to the captain's console. Do this, exactly this. The captain looked at the math, then at Day with amazement. This might work. Helm, follow these instructions precisely. The ship turned. Engines fired in the strange pattern Day had calculated. For a moment, nothing happened. Then suddenly they were free. The anomaly collapsed behind them, leaving only empty space. The bridge erupted in cheers. The captain clapped Day on the shoulder with one of his forearms. Brilliant work, Captain Kang. You saved us all. Day stared at his hands. How had he done that? He wasn't a mathematician. He was a soldier, a captain, yes, but not a scientist. Later, in the medical bay, Dr. Vrex ran tests on him. Fascinating, Vrex said, his multiple eyes examining the data. Your neural activity during the crisis was extraordinary. Your brain was processing information at speeds we've never recorded in a human before. What does that mean? T asked. It means you're special, Captain. Even for a human, you're remarkable. Vrex paused. There's something I should tell you. Your brain shows signs of enhancement, not natural development. Someone has modified your neural pathways. Day's blood ran cold. What kind of modifications? I don't know exactly. The work is incredibly advanced. It's integrated so deeply that I can't tell where your natural brain ends and the enhancements begin. Vrex looked uncomfortable. I thought you knew. I thought it was part of your work with the Coalition. I didn't know, Day said quietly. That night he confronted Lyra. Kian was already asleep. They were alone. Lyra, I need you to tell me the truth. Dr. Vrex says my brain has been modified. Did you know about this? Lyra's skin dimmed. She looked down at her hands. Day, the truth, Lyra, please. She took a deep breath. Yes, I knew. It was part of the program. The Coalition needed someone who could interface with our technology, who could bridge our species mentally as well as culturally. You volunteered for the enhancements. They made you faster, smarter, able to process information like our people do. And the memory loss? Was that part of it too? No. The attack was real, Day. The injury was real. I would never hurt you. Day wanted to believe her. But the message from his past self echoed in his mind. Trust no one. He started having dreams. Strange, vivid dreams that felt like memories. In them, he was in a white laboratory. Scientists, human and alien, stood around him. He was strapped to a table. Someone was putting a device on his head. A voice said, "The human mind is the key. They can survive what others cannot." He woke up sweating. Lyra stirred beside him. Bad dream? She asked sleepily. Yeah, just a bad dream. But it hadn't felt like a dream. It had felt like a memory. Day began exploring the ship's restricted areas. His high clearance let him into places most crew members couldn't go. In a secure data vault, he found classified files. Project Meridian. His hand shook as he opened the files. Page after page of scientific data, test results, subject profiles. He found his own name. Subject M7, human male. Exceptional neuroplasticity. Selected for integration trials. There were others before him, M1 through M6, all from different species. Next to their names, deceased, neural collapse, brain death, psychological fragmentation, all dead. He was the only one who had survived. The files explained the project's goal: create beings who could withstand a specific enemy weapon. An enemy called the Devourers. They were a hive mind that consumed other species by attacking their neural systems, turning victims into mindless drones. Standard defenses didn't work. The Devourers adapted too quickly. But human brains with their unique structure showed promise. If enhanced properly, a human could resist the Devourer attacks, could maybe even fight back. Day was the successful test subject, the one who lived, but the files said nothing about Lyra, nothing about marriage, nothing about Kian. He dug deeper, finding another layer of classified information. This one required even higher clearance. He used his access code and the files opened. Emotional anchoring protocol. His stomach sank as he read. Test subjects needed psychological stability during neural integration. Without it, they went insane. The solution was to create strong emotional bonds. Family bonds. Subject M7 was paired with Dr. Lyra of the Villani research team. A simulated romantic relationship was established. Memories were implanted to provide emotional foundation. Simulated. Implanted. Not real. There was more. The Kian unit, a bioengineered construct designed to deepen emotional attachment, programmed to act as offspring, created to give Subject M7 purpose beyond the mission. Unit. Construct. Programmed. Created. Not his son. Not even really alive. Just a tool. Day felt sick. His whole life here was a lie. Lyra was his handler, not his wife. Kian was a program, not his child. He left the data vault in a daze. He walked through the ship without seeing it. Everything was fake, everything. He returned to his quarters. Their quarters. The fake home Lyra was reading on the couch. She looked up and smiled when he entered. "How was your day?" How could she smile like that? How could she pretend? "Fine," he said. His voice sounded hollow even to himself. Kian ran out from his room. "Papa, I made something for you at school." The boy held up a drawing. It showed 3 figures holding hands. One tall blue figure, one tall brownish figure, one small golden figure. Lyra, Day, and Kian. Above them, Kian had written "My family" in shaky letters. Day looked at the drawing. At Kian's proud, happy face. At Lyra's soft smile, all fake, all programmed, all designed to manipulate him. "It's beautiful, Kian," Day managed to say. "Thank you." Kian hugged him. The boy felt warm and real and alive, but he wasn't. He was a construct, a tool, a thing created to control Day's emotions. That night, Day lay in bed next to Lyra, staring at the ceiling. She thought he was asleep, but he was wide awake. He knew the truth now. He'd been used, manipulated. His mind modified, his memories stolen, his life replaced with a comfortable lie. The question was, what would he do about it? He could confront them, expose the conspiracy, demand his freedom, but then what? Earth was in danger. The Devourers were real. The project existed for a reason. If he was the only successful subject, the only one who could fight this enemy, did he have the right to walk away? And there was another problem. A problem he didn't want to admit. When Kian hugged him, he'd felt something. When Lyra smiled at him, something in his chest warmed. The emotions were real, even if the situation wasn't. 3 years. He'd lived here for 3 years, even if he didn't remember it. 3 years of conditioning, of programmed responses, of manufactured feelings. How much of what he felt was real? How much was programming? Did it even matter? Day closed his eyes. Tomorrow he would decide what to do. Tomorrow he would choose what kind of man he wanted to be. Tonight he just wanted to rest. Even if the bed was a lie, even if the woman beside him was a lie, even if everything was a lie. He was tired. So tired. And somewhere deep inside, part of him didn't want to leave. Part of him wanted to stay in the comfortable fiction, with the fake wife and the construct child and the purpose he'd been given. Part of him wondered if a beautiful lie was better than a harsh truth. Day spent the next 3 days gathering evidence. He copied files, recorded data, saved everything he could find about Project Meridian. He needed to understand the full scope of what had been done to him before he made any decisions. What he found made him angry. Really angry. There had been 37 human volunteers. 37 people who signed up to save Earth, who agreed to experimental procedures. Only 7 made it to the neural integration phase. The others died during preparation. Of those 7, 6 lost their minds. The files described their breakdowns in cold, clinical language. Psychotic episodes, neural collapse, subjects terminated for safety reasons. Terminated. They'd killed them when the experiments failed. Only Day survived. Only he kept his sanity. The scientists didn't know why. They guessed it was something unique about his brain structure, about his specific neural patterns. They called him lucky. Day didn't feel lucky. He felt like a weapon that had been sharpened without his consent. The files revealed more disturbing facts. The emotional anchoring wasn't supposed to last forever. It was meant to keep him stable during the dangerous integration period. After 3 months, they were supposed to tell him the truth and let him choose whether to continue. But then the war got worse. The Devourers pushed closer to Earth. The Coalition panicked. They needed their weapon ready. So they kept Day in the dark, kept him stable, kept him happy and controlled with his fake family. 3 months became 6. 6 became a year. A year became 3. They'd stolen 3 years of his life. On the 4th day, Day was summoned to a meeting. High-level Coalition officials wanted to see him. Lyra looked nervous when she heard. "It's just a routine briefing," she said, but her voice sounded wrong. Day went to the meeting room. 5 beings sat around a long table. He recognized some of them from files. Coalition military leaders. Project Meridian directors. The one in charge was a tall alien with crystalline skin. Her name was Commander Sella. Captain Kang, Sella said. Please sit. We need to discuss your future, Dee sat. He kept his face neutral, showing nothing of what he knew. Your recovery has been remarkable, Sella continued. Dr. Vrek says you're performing beyond all expectations. Your neural integration is more complete than ever. You're the most successful subject we've ever had. Subject? Day asked carefully. Sella paused. We should clarify. Captain, how much do you remember about Project Meridian? Nothing. Should I? The officials exchanged glances. One of them, a being made of shifting liquid, spoke up. Captain Kang, we believe it's time to tell you the truth about your situation. They told him everything. Almost everything. They explained the project, the neural enhancements, the mission to fight the Devourers. They told him about the other subjects who died. They made it sound noble, necessary. But they said nothing about the fake family, nothing about the implanted memories. They kept that secret. We need you, Captain Sella said. Earth needs you. The Devourers are 3 months away from human space. Without you, without your unique abilities, billions will die. We're asking you to continue serving, to be the weapon humanity needs. Day looked at them, at these powerful beings who thought they could control him. And if I refuse? He asked quietly. The temperature in the room seemed to drop. That would be unfortunate, Sella said. We would respect your choice, of course. But Earth would fall. Your species would be enslaved or destroyed. Could you live with that? It was a threat disguised as a question. They were telling him he had no real choice. Day stood up. I need time to think. Of course. Take all the time you need. Sella smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. We'll speak again in 3 days. Day left the meeting and went straight to find Lyra. She was in their quarters, pacing nervously. Day. How did it go? What did they say? He looked at her. Really looked at her. She seemed genuinely worried. Was it an act? Or had she started to care for real? They told me about the project, Day said. About the enhancements. About fighting the Devourers. Lyra's face showed relief. Oh, thank goodness. I've wanted to tell you for so long, but they said I couldn't. They said it might damage your recovery. She reached for his hand. Are you okay? He pulled his hand away. They didn't tell me everything, though. Did they, Lyra? Her face went pale. Well, as pale as blue skin could go. What do you mean? I found the files. All of them. I know what you are. I know what Kian is. I know everything. Tears formed in her eyes immediately. Day, please. Let me explain. Explain what? That you're not my wife? That you're a scientist assigned to keep me emotionally stable? That Kian is a bioengineered construct designed to manipulate me? His voice was getting louder. Which part needs explaining, Lyra? It's not like that, she said desperately. Yes, it started that way. Yes, I was assigned to you. But Day, things changed. I changed. Convenient. It's the truth. She was crying now. You have to believe me. In the beginning, yes, it was an assignment. But over time, over these 3 years, I fell in love with you. Really in love. The man you are, your kindness, your strength, your humor. How could I not love you? How can I believe anything you say? You've been lying to me for 3 years. I wanted to tell you. So many times. But they wouldn't let me. They said it would ruin everything, that you'd reject the integration, that you'd die like the others. She grabbed his arms. I was trying to save your life. By stealing it. They stood there, both breathing hard. So much anger. So much hurt. From down the hall, they heard a small voice. Mama, Papa. Why are you yelling? Kian stood in the doorway of his room, tears running down his glowing face. Day felt his heart break. Even knowing what Kian was, seeing that small, scared face hurt him. It's okay, Kian, Lyra said quickly, wiping her eyes. We're just having a disagreement. Adults do that sometimes. Are you leaving, Papa? Kian asked. Are you going away? The boy ran to Day and wrapped his arms around his legs. Please don't go, please, I'll be good. I promise I'll be good. Day looked down at Kian. This thing. This construct. This fake child who felt so real in his arms. Kian, go to your room for a bit, Day said softly. Please. But Papa, now Kian. The boy's face crumpled. He ran back to his room, sobbing. When they were alone again, Day turned back to Lyra. Tell me everything. No more lies, everything, so she did. She told him how the project started, how desperate the coalition was. How they tried other species first, but human brains were unique, adaptable in ways no one else's were. She told him about the emotional anchoring protocol, about how memories were carefully crafted and implanted. Kian, she said quietly, was grown in a lab. But he's not just a robot, Day, he's alive. He has real thoughts, real feelings. The programming was just a framework. He developed his own personality, his own soul. He loves you because he chooses to, not because he was told to. How can you know that? Because I've watched him grow. I've seen him become his own person. Yes, he was created for a purpose, but aren't all children created with their parents' hopes and dreams attached? Kian is real, Day. He's as real as any child. Day sat down heavily. His head hurt. Everything hurt. What about the memories? He asked. The ones they implanted? How much of what I remember is real? Your childhood, your training, your life before the project, all real. The memories of meeting me, falling in love, getting married, those were crafted. But they were built on your real personality, your real values. We tried to make them authentic to who you are. So I never chose to love you. It was forced on me. Lyra's voice broke. Maybe at first. But Day, love grows. Even if the beginning was artificial, what we've built over 3 years is real. The conversations we've had, the moments we've shared, the way you hold me when I'm sad, that's all been real. You've been awake and conscious. Your feelings have been your own. Even if the foundation was built on lies, Day wanted to argue, wanted to say it was all fake, but he couldn't because he felt something. Looking at Lyra's tearful face, his chest ached. Thinking about Kian crying in his room, he wanted to comfort the boy. Were those feelings real? Or just programming? I need time, Day said finally. I need to think. Of course. Take all the time you need. Lyra wiped her face. But Day, there's something else you should know. The coalition meeting in 3 days. They're going to ask you to deploy. The Devourers are closer than they said. Earth has maybe 2 months, not 3. They need you ready. So everything is urgent and convenient. I'm not lying about this. I swear, check the intelligence reports yourself. The situation is desperate, Day stood. I'm going for a walk. Should I come with you? No. I need to be alone. He left the quarters and wandered the ship. His mind churned with thoughts, questions, emotions he couldn't untangle. Eventually, he found himself at the observation deck. Through the massive viewport, stars stretched in every direction. Earth was out there somewhere. Home. A world full of people who didn't know they were about to be attacked by an enemy that consumed minds and souls. If he walked away, they would die. Billions of humans gone. If he stayed, he remained a weapon, a tool for others to use. What did he do? What could he do? Dr. Vrex found him there an hour later. Captain Kang, I thought I might find you here. Doctor, Lyra told me what happened. I'm sorry. I should have said something sooner. Would they have let you? No, but I still should have tried. Vrex stood next to him looking out at the stars. For what it's worth, Captain, I believe Lyra truly cares for you. I've watched you two together. What SDA walked into the coalition meeting room like a man going to war, which in a way he was. Commander Sella and her officials sat waiting. They looked confident, like they already knew what he would say. Captain Kang, Sella greeted him. Have you made your decision? I have, Day said. He didn't sit. He stood at the head of the table looking down at them. I'll fight the Devourers. I'll be your weapon, but I have conditions. Sella's expression didn't change. What conditions? First, no more lies. You tell me everything. The full extent of my enhancements, the real timeline of the Devourer threat, everything about how the combat system works. Complete transparency. Agreed. Second, I want my original memories restored. The real ones. The ones you took from me. This made them hesitate. The liquid being spoke up. Captain, that could be dangerous. The memory restoration process is risky, especially with your enhanced neural state. You could experience psychological damage. You could die. That's my risk to take. I want my memories back, Sella nodded slowly. It can be done. What else? Third, after the threat is over, if I survive, I get to choose my own life. No more programs. No more handlers. I decide what happens to me, of course. You'll be a hero. You can have anything you want. I want it in writing. Official coalition documents. Legal protections done. Sella stood. Is that all? One more thing, Kian, the construct. I want to know if he can truly think for himself. I want independent verification that he's genuinely conscious, not just running advanced programming. This request seemed to surprise them. Why? Sela asked. Because I need to know what's real in my life. Can you do it or not? We can have our best cognitive specialists examine him. It will take a few days. Fine, do it. Day turned to leave, then stopped. And Commander? If I find out you're lying to me again, I walk. I don't care if Earth burns.
You understand?
Sella's face hardened. Perfectly, Captain. The next week was intense. They kept their word about transparency. Scientists showed him everything about his enhancements. His brain had been modified to interface directly with advanced technology. He could process data streams that would overwhelm normal minds. His reaction time was 10 times faster than a regular human's. His spatial awareness was extraordinary. But the most important modification was his mental resilience. His mind had been structured to resist external control. The Devourers worked by imposing their will on their victims, turning them into drones. Day's brain would reject that influence. He was immune to their primary weapon. You're our shield, the head scientist explained, but also our sword. You can get close to them when no one else can. You can disrupt their networks. You're the perfect counter to their hive mind. They showed him the combat system he would use. It was a hybrid technology, combining human intuition with alien computing power. He would pilot massive weapons, coordinate fleets, and interface with defensive systems, all through direct neural connection. Won't that hurt? Day asked. Probably. Most species experience significant pain during neural interface. But humans have high pain tolerance. You should survive it, should, not would. Should. Meanwhile, specialists examined Kian. They ran cognitive tests, analyzed his neural patterns, studied his decision-making processes. Day watched some of the tests through observation windows. Kian was confused about why the doctors were asking him strange questions. Papa, why do they want to know what I would do if I found a lost toy? Why does it matter if I would keep it or try to find the owner? They're just making sure you're healthy, Kian. Am I sick? No, you're perfect. The words came out before Day could stop them, and he realized he meant them. After 5 days, the specialists reported their findings. Day sat in a room with Sella and the lead cognitive expert, a being with a brain visible through a transparent skull. Captain Kang, the expert said, Kian is genuinely conscious. His initial programming provided a framework, but he has developed true self-awareness. He makes independent choices. He has original thoughts. He dreams, and his dreams are unpredictable. By every measure we have, he is a real, living, thinking being. Day felt something release in his chest. Relief, maybe. So he's not just a robot. No more than you are, Captain. You've been modified, too. Where is the line between natural and artificial? Kian is alive. That's what matters. That evening, Day went home to their quarters. Lyra was cooking dinner. Kian was doing homework at the table. It looked so normal, so domestic. Papa. Kian ran to hug him. The doctor said I'm real. They said I'm a real person. Day picked him up. The boy was getting heavier, growing. You've always been real, Kian. I know, but they proved it. They said my brain makes its own choices. They said I'm conscious. Kian didn't fully understand what that meant, but he knew it was good. Lyra watched them from the kitchen, hope in her eyes. After dinner, after Kian went to bed, Day and Lyra sat together in the living room. The first time they'd really talked since his discovery. I'm having my memories restored, Day said. The real ones, tomorrow. Lyra's face went pale. That's dangerous. The doctor said, I know what they said. I'm doing it anyway. Why? Why risk it? Because I need to know who I really am. Not who you made me. Not who the project created, me, the real me. Lyra looked down at her hands. And after you remember? What then? I don't know. Will you leave us? Day was quiet for a long moment. I don't know that either. The memories they gave me, the feelings I have for you and Kian. I don't know what's real and what's programming. But the specialist confirmed Kian is truly alive. That helps. And me? Lyra's voice was small. What about me? You lied to me for 3 years, I know. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. But you also took care of me. You were patient when I didn't remember. You cried when you thought you'd lost me. Day looked at her. Maybe you started as an assignment. But I don't think you're acting now. Your emotions feel real. They are real, Lyra said desperately. I love you, Day. I know I have no right to, but I do. After the memory restoration, we'll see. Maybe I'll remember falling in love with you for real. Maybe I'll remember nothing. We'll figure it out then. And if you remember and decide to leave, then we'll deal with that too. Lyra nodded, tears on her face. Okay. The next day, Day went to the medical bay for the procedure. Dr. Vrex prepared him personally. "This will be painful," Vrex warned. "Your brain has adapted to the implanted memories. Restoring the originals means forcing it to hold both sets simultaneously. Most beings couldn't handle it. But you're not most beings." "I'm human," Day said. "Exactly. Human brains are remarkably flexible. Still, I must warn you, you might not be the same person after this. Memory shapes identity. You'll be someone who remembers two different lives. I already am that person. I just don't remember one of the lives." "Fair point. Are you ready?" "Do it." They put him under anesthesia first, then activated the neural restoration program. Day drifted in darkness. Then the memories hit like a flood. He was 8 years old, living in Seoul with his grandmother. His parents had died in a transport accident. He remembered crying, remembered being alone. He was 18, joining the military, determined to make his parents proud even though they were gone. He was 25, volunteering for the deep space program, wanting to escape Earth to find meaning among the stars. He was 28, sitting in a briefing room learning about the Devourers for the first time, seeing images of destroyed worlds, enslaved populations, feeling horror and determination. He was 29, meeting the Project Meridian scientists, listening to them explain the procedure, knowing it might kill him, signing up anyway because someone had to do it. He remembered the pain of the neural modifications, days of agony as his brain was restructured, watching other volunteers die screaming, wondering when his turn would come. He remembered the scientists celebrating when he survived, being told he was special, unique, humanity's best hope. And then he remembered something else. Something that made his heart race. He remembered Lyra. Not the implanted memories. Real memories. She had been there from the beginning. Not as a wife. As a colleague. A scientist working on the project. She'd been kind to him during the procedures. Had stayed with him during the worst pain. Had talked to him about her world. About the Villani people, about anything to distract him from the agony. He'd started looking forward to her visits. Started feeling something for her. The feelings were real. They'd happened before the memory implantation. The implanted memories of marriage and romance had just been built on a foundation that already existed. The Coalition had seen his genuine attraction and exploited it, but the attraction itself, the original spark, that had been real. Day woke up gasping. Monitors beeped frantically. Vrex was yelling orders. Medical staff swarmed around him. "Captain, stay calm. You're experiencing neural integration. This is normal. Breathe." Day breathed. His head felt like it was splitting open. He could remember everything now. Both lives. His real past and the implanted one. They existed side by side in his mind, two parallel stories. It was confusing and clear at the same time. "How do you feel?" Vrex asked. "Like myself," Day said. And it was true. All the pieces had come together. He knew what the preparation for battle took 2 weeks. Day trained with the neural interface system every day. The first time he connected, the pain almost made him pass out. It felt like lightning shooting through his brain, his nerves on fire. "You'll get used to it," the technician said. "When?" Day gasped. "Eventually. Maybe." But the technician was right. After several sessions, the pain decreased. Day learned to work through it, to accept it as part of the process. His human stubbornness helped. When his instructors said something was impossible, he did it anyway. When they said to rest, he trained harder. "Humans," Vrex observed one day, watching Day push through another brutal session. "You're all a little bit crazy. It's your greatest strength." Through the neural interface, Day could control entire fleets. He could see through 1,000 cameras simultaneously, could coordinate weapons across vast distances. His enhanced brain processed it all, turning chaos into strategy. The Coalition generals were impressed. "He's better than we hoped," Commander Sella told her staff. "He thinks differently than we do, unpredictably. The Devourers won't know how to counter him." But Day heard the words she didn't say. He was a weapon, a tool. When the war ended, would they really let him go? Or would they find new threats, new reasons to keep using him? He pushed the thought aside. First, survive the battle, then worry about after. Intelligence reports came in daily. The Devourers were advancing faster than predicted. They'd consumed another species, the Trell, in less than a week. Millions dead. Millions more turned into mindless drones. Earth had 6 weeks. Maybe less. At night, Day spent time with Lyra and Kian. These moments felt precious now. Every dinner together, every bedtime story, every quiet conversation, he treasured them. They might be his last. Kian didn't fully understand what was happening. He knew his papa was preparing for something dangerous. He saw the worry in his mother's eyes. "Papa, will you come back?" Kian asked one night. Day tucked the blankets around him. "I'll try my best, buddy. I promise I'll try. But what if you can't? What if the bad things hurt you? Then you'll remember me. You'll remember our stories and our games. You'll remember that I love you. I don't want to just remember. I want you here." Day's throat tightened. "I know, I want that too." Kian grabbed his hand. "Papa, can I tell you a secret? Always. Sometimes I dream about before I was real. I dream about the place where I was made. And in the dreams I hear voices saying I'm not a real boy, that I'm just a thing." Day pulled Kian into a hug. "Those are just bad dreams. You're real, Kian, as real as me. As real as anyone. Promise? I promise. And I'll tell you something else. It doesn't matter how you started. What matters is who you choose to be. You choose to be kind. You choose to be brave. You choose to love. Those choices make you real." Kian sniffled against his shoulder. "I choose to be like you, Papa. Then you'll be an amazing person." Lyra was waiting in the living room when Day came out. "She'd been crying, I heard," she said. "Thank you for telling him that. It's the truth, I know. But still. Thank you." She wiped her eyes. "Day, I need to tell you something. About after the battle." "After?" "The Coalition is already making plans. They want to use you for other missions. Other threats. They're talking about creating more enhanced humans using you as the template." Day's jaw tightened. "More experiments. More people dying while they try. Yes, I've seen the proposals. They want to build an army of people like you. They think if humans are enhanced, the Coalition will be unstoppable. And let me guess, they want me to help recruit volunteers? To tell them it's safe? Probably." Lyra took his hands. "Day, I'm telling you this because you need to know. They won't keep their promise to let you go. You're too valuable. Then I'll make them keep it." "How?" "They're the most powerful force in the galaxy." Day smiled grimly. "I'm humanity's secret weapon, remember? I have leverage. After I save Earth, after I prove what humans can do, I'll have the whole galaxy watching. They can't force me then without looking like tyrants. You're gambling with your life. I've been gambling with my life since I volunteered for this program. At least now I'm gambling on my own terms." The final week before deployment, Earth sent a message. Day's commanding officer from his military days appeared on screen. "Captain Kang," the older man said. His voice was rough with emotion. "I heard what you're doing for us. For Earth. I want you to know every human who knows about the threat is grateful. You're a hero, son. I'm just a soldier doing my job, sir. You're more than that. You're the best of us." The officer paused. "Your parents would be proud. Your grandmother would be proud." Day's grandmother had died while he was in the program. He'd missed her funeral. "Another cost of the experiments, thank you, sir. That means a lot. Bring hell to those alien bastards, Kang. Show them what humans are made of." "Yes, sir. That's exactly what I plan to do." 3 days before deployment, Day had a strange dream. He was standing in a white room. Across from him stood himself. But this other Day looked different, healthier, happier, unmarked by experiments and pain. "Am I you?" Day asked the other version. "I'm who you would have been," the dream Day said. "If you'd never volunteered. If you'd stayed on Earth, lived a normal life. Do you regret it? That I chose this path?" The other Day smiled. "No, you made the right choice. Someone had to stand up. Someone had to fight. I'm glad it was us, even knowing the cost, especially knowing the cost. Anyone can be brave when it's easy. It takes real courage to be brave when it's hard." Day woke up feeling strangely peaceful. The dream had been his mind processing everything, accepting his choices. On the last day before deployment, the whole family went to the observation deck. Day wanted to show Kian something. "Look out there," Day said, pointing at the stars. "Somewhere in that direction is Earth. My home world. Your home world too, in a way." "It's so far away," Kian said. "Yes, but distance doesn't matter. Home is home. Will I ever see it, Earth? If I have anything to say about it, yes. After this is over, we'll go visit. I'll show you, Soul, where I grew up. The mountains. The sea, everything. I'd like that, Papa." Lyra stood beside them, her hand in Day's. "We'll make it happen, all of us together." That night they had one last family dinner. Day made Korean food. teaching Kian and Lyra how to make kimchi fried rice. They laughed when Kian added too much spice and had to drink 3 glasses of water. After Kian went to bed, Day and Lyra sat together in the quiet. "I'm scared," Lyra admitted. "I'm terrified I'll lose you." "I'm scared too. But I'm also ready." Day pulled her close. "Lyra, if something happens to me, please don't. I have to say this. If something happens, take care of Kian. Help him understand that what I did mattered. Help him remember me. Nothing is going to happen. You're coming back, probably. But if I don't, I need to know you'll both be okay." Lyra kissed him. "We'll never be okay without you. But we'll survive. We'll live. We'll honor your memory." They held each other for a long time. The next morning came too soon. Day put on his combat suit, a sleek black outfit designed to work with the neural interface. He looked at himself in the mirror. He looked like a soldier, like a weapon, but he also looked like a man, a human, and that was important. Kian hugged him goodbye at their quarters. The boy tried to be brave but couldn't stop crying. "Come back, Papa, please come back, I will. I promise I'll try my hardest. Love you, Papa. Love you too, buddy. So much." Lyra walked with him to the deployment bay. Other soldiers and crew members nodded respectfully as they passed. Everyone knew what was about to happen. At the bay doors, Lyra stopped. "This is as far as I can go, I know," she touched his face. "Kang Day, my husband, my love. You're the bravest person I've ever known. Not because you're fearless, but because you're terrified and doing this anyway. I learned from watching you. You've been brave every day, living with your lies, trying to protect me and love me at the same time. That took courage too. Come back to me. Come back to us, I will. One way or another, I'll come back." They kissed one last time. Then Day turned and walked through the doors. The deployment bay was massive, filled with ships and weapons and soldiers from a dozen species. In the center stood the neural interface chamber, a large pod that would connect Day to the entire battle network. Commander Sella was waiting. "Captain Kang, are you ready?" "As ready as I'll ever be. The Devourers are approaching Earth's outer colonies. We need to stop them before they reach the home world. You'll coordinate our forces, target their weak points, disrupt their hive mind. Everything depends on you." "No pressure then," Day said dryly. Sella almost smiled. "You're human. You thrive on pressure. It's what you do." Day climbed into the interface pod. Technicians attached neural connectors to his head, his spine, his limbs. The connections hurt, but he was used to it now. "Beginning interface sequence in 30 seconds, a voice announced. Day closed his eyes. He thought about Lyra and Kian, about Earth, about all the people depending on him. He thought about the other volunteers who died so he could succeed. "About their sacrifice, I won't let you down," he whispered. "Any of you? Sequence starting, 3, 2, 1. The world exploded into light and data. Day's consciousness expanded across space, touching thousands of minds, millions of sensors, entire fleets of ships. The Devourers hit the outer defense line like a tsunami of darkness. Through his neural connection, Day felt the attack on thousands of fronts simultaneously. Ships exploded. Shields failed. Soldiers screamed as the hive mind reached into their thoughts. But Day was ready. "All ships pattern Delta 7, he commanded. His voice echoed through the battle network, reaching every coalition vessel. "Don't fight them head on. Use hit-and-run tactics. Humans taught guerrilla warfare to a dozen species. Time to use it." The fleet responded instantly. Ships darted in, fired, retreated before the Devourers could counter. It wasn't how most aliens fought. They preferred organized, honorable battle lines. But humans had learned centuries ago that survival mattered more than honor. The Devourers adapted quickly, anticipating the patterns. So Day changed tactics, then changed again, and again. Each time using strategies that made no logical sense that came from pure human intuition. The Devourers couldn't predict him. Their hive mind worked on logic, on efficiency, but Day was fighting with creativity, with controlled chaos, with the beautiful illogic of human thinking. "They're confused," Sayla reported from her command ship. "Their formations are breaking down." "How are you doing this?" "I'm being human," Day said simply. For 6 hours the battle raged. Day felt every death, every explosion through the neural link. It hurt, it exhausted him, but he kept going. Because that's what humans did. They endured. Then the Devourers changed their strategy. They stopped trying to destroy ships. Instead, they focused all their power on one target, D's mind. The attack hit like a hammer. The hive mind reached through the neural network, trying to overwhelm him, to take control, to turn him into one of their drones. Day screamed as billions of voices invaded his thoughts. The pain was beyond anything he'd ever felt. His brain was on fire. They were trying to erase who he was, to make him part of their collective. "Captain," Sella's voice was distant. "We're losing him!" The devourers are in his mind. In the medical bay where his body sat in the interface pod, alarms screamed. Technicians tried desperately to sever the connection, but it was too late. The devourers had him. They poured into his consciousness like poison. They showed him their truth. Individuality was chaos. Unity was perfection. Resistance was pain. Surrender was peace. They promised to end his suffering if he just stopped fighting. Just let go. Just become part of them. For a moment, Day almost gave in. It would be so easy. So peaceful. Then he remembered something. A small voice saying, "I love you, Papa." Kian, his son. Real or created, it didn't matter. Kian was his and Lyra. Her voice saying, "Come back to me." And Earth. Billions of humans who didn't even know his name but whose lives depended on him. Day laughed. Actually laughed inside his own invaded mind. "You want to see what makes humans special?" He said to the hive mind. "It's not our strength. It's not our intelligence. It's that we're really, really stubborn. We hold on to things that make no logical sense. We love what hurts us. We hope when there's no reason to hope." The devourers tried to crush him with their collective will, but Day pushed back with something they'd never encountered. He pushed back with contradiction. He was one person and many. He was Kang Day the soldier and Kang Day the father. He had real memories and implanted memories, and he accepted both as true. He was a weapon and a man. He was afraid and brave. He was dying and living. He existed in multiple states at once, and his human brain accepted all of it without breaking. The devourers couldn't process it. Their hive mind worked on unity, on singular purpose, but Day was showing them something that broke their fundamental nature. You could be multiple things at once and still be whole. "Here," Day said. "Let me show you more." He opened his mind fully, showed them everything. The pain of losing his parents, the joy of falling in love, the confusion of lost memories, the anger at being used, the love for a child who was grown in a lab, the sorrow for friends who died, the hope for tomorrow despite everything. He showed them every contradiction, every paradox, every illogical human emotion he'd ever felt. And the devourers, encountering something completely outside their understanding, recoiled. Their hive mind, built on logic and unity, started to fragment. Day's consciousness was like a virus in their system. They tried to isolate it, to cut it off, but Day wouldn't let them. "You want it in my head?" Day said. "Welcome to being human. It's messy. It's contradictory. It's beautiful and terrible, and it doesn't make sense. But it's ours." He pushed deeper into their network, showed them memories of human history, wars and peace, love and hate, destruction and creation, humans at their worst and humans at their best. All of it true, all of it real, all of it impossibly contradictory. The hive mind started breaking apart. Individual devourers began to think individual thoughts. They started to feel confusion, doubt, fear. They started to become individuals, and for a hive mind, that was death. Retreat. The command came from the devourer core consciousness. "Retreat now!" The dark wave pulled back. Ships fled. The invasion force that had destroyed 17 species ran away from one human and his impossible mind. In the real world, Day collapsed in the interface pod. Blood ran from his nose, his ears. His brain had been pushed beyond its limits. The technicians rushed to disconnect him. "Is he alive?" Sella demanded. "Barely," Vrek said, already running scans. "His neural patterns are chaotic. He's going into shock." They rushed Day to emergency medical. As they worked on him, reports came in from across the battle space. The devourers were gone. Not just retreating. Gone. Their fleet had scattered in every direction, ships flying randomly. The hive mind shattered. Some devourers had even surrendered. Individuals asking for help, confused about who and what they were. Experiencing consciousness for the first time, Day had done the impossible. He'd turned a weapon that consumed minds against itself. He'd broken a hive consciousness using pure human contradiction. He'd saved Earth, but the cost was severe. Dee drifted in and out of consciousness for 3 days. When he finally woke up, Lyra was beside his bed. She looked exhausted. "Hey," Day whispered. His voice was rough. "Day!" "Oh, thank the stars. You're awake." Lyra grabbed his hand. "You scared us. You were dying. The doctor said your brain might never recover. But I'm okay." "Yes, somehow. Your human stubbornness again," Vreck says. Day smiled weakly. "Where's Kian?" "I'll get him. He's been waiting." Lyra ran out and returned with the boy. Kian launched himself at the bed. "Papa, you came back. You promised and you came back." "Careful with him," Lyra warned, but Day just hugged his son. "I promised, didn't I? I always keep my promises." Over the next week, Day recovered. The news spread across the galaxy. The human who broke the Devourers. The warrior who saved Earth. The man who weaponized his own contradictory nature, humans back on Earth celebrated. They'd been saved by one of their own. Pride in humanity swelled across the planet. The Coalition wanted to honor Day, give him medals, titles, wealth. But first they wanted to talk about the future. Commander Sela visited him in medical. "Captain Kang, you've done the impossible. You've shown us that humans are the key to defeating enemies we thought were unstoppable. The Coalition wants to expand the program, create more enhanced humans. Use your template." "No," Day said simply. "No. No more experiments. No more people dying in labs while you try to recreate what happened to me. I was lucky. Everyone else died. I won't help you kill more volunteers. But with your help we could perfect the process." I said no. Day's voice was firm. "We had a deal, Commander. I fought your war. Now I get my freedom. Or was that a lie too?" Sela's face hardened. "Captain, think about the greater good. I've thought about nothing else for months. My answer is still no. The Coalition could make you—" "Could you?" Day sat up, meeting her eyes. "I just broke a hive mind that conquered 17 species. I can interface with your entire battle network. You really want to make an enemy of me?" Sela was quiet for a long moment. "You're threatening the Coalition? I'm reminding you that I have power too. And Earth is watching. All of humanity is watching what you do with their hero. Do you really want to show them you're just another empire that uses people as tools?" Another long silence. Then Sela nodded slowly. "You're right. We made a deal. I'll honor it. You're free, Captain Kang. The Coalition thanks you for your service." After she left, Lyra squeezed Day's hand. "That was brave. And a little scary. Had to be done. I'm not being anyone's weapon anymore. What will you do now?" "Now?" Day smiled. "Now I figure out how to be a normal person again. If that's even possible." The recovery took 2 more weeks. When Day was finally cleared, they had a choice to make. Stay with the Coalition or go somewhere else. "Where do you want to go?" Lyra asked. "Earth," Day said. "I want to go home. I want Kian to see where I came from. Where humanity came from. And then," he looked at Lyra, "I want to go to your homeworld, see where you came from. I want us to build something new. Something that's just ours." "A real family," Lyra said softly. "The realest one we can make." They traveled to Earth first. When they landed in Seoul, Day felt emotions he couldn't describe. He was home. Really home.